It's been a little over a year now since I first made people aware of the entity in Saints Row 2 known as the Freezer. Though it can be harmful to the game's disc, players have still been trying to explore it for themselves. Videos have even popped up online either showing the Freezer in their game or didn't show up at all. I've realized now that I didn't go into enough detail in my first video. There are still just too many questions to be answered. Though I hate the idea of ruining copies of Saints Row 2, I think it's more important to finally explore every aspect of the Freezer before any more players can lose a copy of such a beloved game. I've gone down to my local GameStop and purchased a few copies of Saints Row 2 for the Xbox 360 and even one for the PS3. I'd like to thank Mike Watson for my PC copy so I can also investigate on there as well. Before we start playing, let's take a quick look into the origins of the Freezer. I first learned of the Freezer back in 2010 on the TimeSplitter 4 forums. In the general gaming section, I found a chat talking about video game myths, GTA's Bigfoot, Halo 2's Ghost, etc. I was looking through the pages until I saw a lengthy post on a shadow creature that freezes copies of Saints Row 2. It was one of the few posts that had a very descriptive tutorial. I didn't really believe in the Freezer yet, but I liked how you had a glitch out of Zombie Uprising to find it. The method goes as follows: turn on low gravity, infinite ammo, and visibility, then start a game of Zombie Uprising. Continue playing normally until you unlock the grenades. Now aim yourself at this ledge and throw a grenade behind you. If you plan it right, your guy will be launched upon the ledge and then you'll only need one more grenade to escape. Once you appear on the street, the Freezer is free to attack you at any time. It's believed the Freezer has a higher chance of appearing if you go to the underpass in the red light district. Once you see him, your game will immediately freeze. Sometimes you have a small window to run, but usually it never helps. It's when your game freezes that the disc can be damaged. It's almost like the bug from Saints Row 1 where you can freeze the multiplayer host's game. That would potentially ruin the person's disc. When I first saw the Freezer, it screwed up my copy pretty good. I could start the game, but it would crash at the main menu screen. Now this brings up two big questions. What the hell is the Freezer, and why is it in the game? Some have speculated that Volition programmed it in to keep players from escaping Zombie Uprising. But to freeze and break the game just because someone escaped an activity, it just doesn't sound like something a company would do. Maybe in a bootleg version of the game like Batman Arkham Knight, but not a retailed game. The most probable theory is that the Freezer is a zombie NPC that glitches when it spawns. This could very well be the case. Zombies do spawn from time to time on the street. I believe the zombies don't have a spawn point in the activity, rather they spawn in the radius of the player. This also supports the theory because it could very well be a zombie spawn in a building, only revealing its shadow. Also, if you ever glitch into a building, sometimes you can make yourself look like the Freezer. I've also noticed that each time a homie back in the Uprising location kills a zombie is also when a new zombie spawns near you. This could explain why some players don't see the Freezer. If all the homies are dead after escaping, maybe there isn't any way for a zombie to spawn and mess up the game. But there are two problems with this theory. For one, the shadow doesn't look like a zombie's. It shares more qualities with a normal male NPC. Also, the Freezer can show up in multiplayer. During my Saints Row 2 multiplayer glitch video, the Freezer appeared for a brief moment after the host game froze. Also, thanks to your guys' comments, I found he even showed up one other time when I didn't even see him. This is quite a puzzling addition to the mystery. Does this support the first theory since I was glitching out of the map? Also, it's interesting to note the Freezer has only showed up on the Stillwater Museum map. It's also the only multiplayer map that has a glitched television that asks you if you want to play Zombie Uprising. Not even in the single player does this television ask you that. Could this possibly be a linking glitch that causes the Freezer to appear on this map? From all the glitching I've done in the multiplayer, I'm pretty sure I would have seen the Freezer at least on one other map. There is also a question of whether the Freezer shows up on all consoles in the PC versions of the game. From what I've seen, it appears the Xbox version is the most prone to be attacked by the Freezer. I've heard very few incidents involving a PS3 or PC. After playing all the versions for myself, I didn't once see the Freezer on the PC, and my game only froze one time on the PS3. I wasn't sure, however, if it was because of the Freezer or if it just randomly crashed. The lack of the Freezer in the two versions can explain why some people can't find him. So why is the Xbox version so cursed? The only thing I can think of is similar to what happened to True Crime New York. The Xbox version of the game was an earlier build, causing it to be glitchy as all hell and even making it impossible to beat the game. Could the same thing have happened to Saints Row 2? For the final test, I purchased a digital version of Saints Row 2 for the Xbox to see what would happen. To my surprise, it acted just like the PC version. I didn't run into the Freezer at any time. The last thing I could think of doing is opening up the game's code and seeing if there's anything hidden in the files. Unfortunately, I don't have the resources or the knowledge to do so. While I hope this video cleared up any confusion you may have had at the first video, if you have any questions or suggestions for a future video, please leave a comment below. Anyways, thanks for watching and keep safe next time you play Saints Row 2.